Today, he will share how blockchain and stablecoin digital dollars can help the government deliver faster, more transparent, and more accountable services to the people who need them most.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. My name's Tyler Gentry. I am the founder of NeedAid. We are a fintech consultancy based out of Phoenix, Arizona. We are focused on helping government and nonprofits modernize their payment delivery systems. I'm also a strategic advisor for the Stellar Development Foundation, which is a San Francisco-based nonprofit dedicated to equitable access to world financial services through using blockchain. I had the privilege of working with the state of California during a really hard time through the pandemic. And most of us know there was a lot of money that flowed through Treasury systems into state accounts to get that money out as emergency assistance. And from California to New York and everywhere in between, I worked with municipalities, counties, states to distribute dollars. And we did that mainly on prepaid cards. Part of the problem was, the agencies couldn't cut paper checks fast enough, so they had to find a vendor who could get money out fast. And these things really work well to put in people's hands, and they have immediate access. They could go to an ATM, cash out. They work just like any debit card, but they're a prepaid card. I got a front row seat to this, and I have to say, America, we've got a lot of people that have either fallen behind or been left behind in our systems. And so it became purposeful work to help provide this service. And tens of thousands of payments over 5 years. We had our challenges. We saw a lot of bad actors come out of the woodwork and worm their way into these prepaid cards. We had cards that were lost and stolen. We had cards that never got to people. And not all the money on these cards was used, unfortunately. So, there was a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse, and it made me mad, that, wow, we did our best, and we really did do a lot of good, but this challenge, it's like we can do better than this. And so what I did was I left that firm in February of 2024. I started NeedAid, and I did a 360. And I said, what's the next generation of finance and payments, and how can we apply that to vulnerable populations? And my research and journey quickly led me into decentralized finance. I'm not a blockchain guy. I'm not a cryptocurrency. Well, I'll take that back. Cryptocurrency, I did open up a Coinbase account in 2014 because I was interested in making some money. And I did learn a whole lot. But, fundamentally, I've been in the payment space, this legacy space of providing, different services like ACH and prepaid cards and checks. And so to step into this new ecosystem was eye-opening. And my first conversation I had was with a co-founder down in Mexico City, Decaf Wallet. And I told him about my story, and he said, Tyler, we're already doing that. We're helping people leave Venezuela. We're putting money into our digital wallets, because that's what Decaf is. And we're using these things called stablecoins. And I'm like, stable? What? And they said, yeah, it's a digital dollar. It's pegged to the US dollar, hence stable. I'm like, well, that's cool. So you're saying that we can drop in this coin into this wallet, and then they have all sorts of utility. He said, you can transfer it into a bank account. You can go to a MoneyGram and immediately cash out. You could put it on a virtual prepaid card into your mobile wallet and tap and pay. You can even send it peer-to-peer. I'm like, that's really cool. I mean, how empowering. And so he said, you really need to talk to Stellar Development Foundation and hear what they're doing, because they've done this at scale. Institutionally, they're working with the United Nations right now. One of their first big disbursements of stablecoin was into Ukraine. They sent over $10 million into Ukraine, into digital wallets, and people could cash out and get the help that they needed. So I want to take a step back, because I know this is just one area of payments and government. There's a lot of different things that we could actually do using the blockchain. And it is a very practical solution. It's low risk, it's low cost. We're not, the big misconception is, wow, we're going to have to do a whole rewrite. This is going to become some big project. We could make it that, or we could just iterate. We could get started. We could identify a case. But blockchain, think of it as like an innovation layer. It runs right under your existing systems, your current workflows, and you can make it go to work for you. I think the biggest thing, though, the two goals that I had was, I want to protect people's money, and I want to make it visible. Not only people's money, but the public's money. And that's what blockchain is. All it is a protected ledger, debits and credits. And you can see exactly when things come on chain and move through, and then off chain. So you have a record of every transaction. It could be dollars, it can be data, it can be smart contracts. There's a lot of different things that you can do with blockchain that create this transparency. And I think that's what government and institutions and nonprofits want. They want that type of transparency. They want to demonstrate how money's moving through the system. And this last piece, I think it's probably the most important, because you look at this cryptocurrency craziness, but in the beginning, the promise always was about financial inclusion. It was about giving everybody a chance to step into a new generation of finance and participate and be empowered with different tools. And that industry has been looking for use cases. They've got all sorts of different things that they're doing, but this is a very practical use case. Payments, helping vulnerable people, passing a hand back, pulling them forward into this new financial age. I want to leave you guys with just a simple framework that I've watched a lot of nonprofits. I'm really excited about stepping into the government space. And what that's going to really take is for us to get our hands dirty, to not be afraid of this technology we call blockchain, to look at it. It's all open source. It's free. And you start to use it, and you're going to find out it's very low transaction costs. But we've got to dive in. And I'd suggest just finding a simple use case. Is that a cash assistance program? Is that a disaster relief? Where can we just start to plug and build and find good partners, good blockchain partners, good digital wallet partners, good stablecoin partners? One of the biggest is USDC, Circle out in New York City. They just went public. But a lot of us, maybe not so much in this room, but don't know a whole lot about this. And, so we have to educate ourselves. And then we have to build, we have to track. We've got to start to issue some of this. This is not perfect, and it's not a replacement, But it's really just more of a modern complement about how we can do this. And then we have to measure the results. Let's see, like, as far as the accuracy and the speed and the cost. Put that on a dashboard and let leadership see the results. And then probably the most important thing is to solicit feedback, because this should be a service delivery upgrade for all of Californians. So I really appreciate the time today to share this. I appreciate TechCA for having me and for everything that you do in your agencies and the services that you provide California. It's important. And I'm looking forward to watching the bear build big on blockchain. Thank you.